Great to catch up with you both today. I'm here with Matt Lahood, CEO of Real Estate at the Agency Group, and Michael Wood, the agency's General Manager for Victoria. I thought it'd be good to have a chat about how the agency is growing in Victoria, what's driving that momentum, how the brand is differentiating itself, some of the recent wins you've seen, the pipeline of activity you're building, and how recruitment and regional expansion are shaping the next phase of growth. Firstly, Matt, maybe I'll start with you. From a national point of view, how do you see Victoria fitting into the agency's broader growth story?
Thanks, Dave. Great to be here. Look, Victoria is a very key component of the business. When we started, obviously WA and New South Wales were two of the cornerstones. Very quickly, we learnt that a lot of people were moving between, Queensland, Sydney, I guess, Perth, and virtually all the way around the country. And we just didn't have that connection initially. And we've been building it, and Michael's obviously turbocharged it in the last 6 or so months now, which is very exciting. And yeah, just seeing the cross connection between the states has been brilliant.
And Michael, you've been leading the charge on the ground. What's the energy like in Victoria at the moment? Are you seeing that momentum translate into listings, sales, and new agents joining the team?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had some great additions in terms of agents. Just touching on that energy point of view, I've been in the business now for 8 months, and the energy shift I've seen in that time from when I started to now, it was good, but it seems to have just sort of turbocharged over that 8 month period. We've had some new regional officers that have come on board, as well as I think one of the highlights that I've seen is agents who were working at the agency that moved for one reason or another and have actually returned back, which shows us that, I guess what we're doing is working. We are, an agency of choice, and that has now translated into, I guess, certainly more listings. The numbers are great, but also just the amount of inbound coming calls we're seeing from agents and also vendors who are noticing the agency brand down in Victoria a lot more than they were.
And Matt, there's plenty of competition in the Victorian market. Probably a question for both of you. What do you think really sets the agency apart, whether it's the business model, the culture, or the level of support you're giving agents? Firstly, Matt, to you.
Sure, Dave. I think one big thing with Michael coming on, he's also an auctioneer. I think that's really important. So he's actually on the ground with the agents on the weekend, and that's a big thing. A lot of the agents love to have the leadership team out there, and not only that, he can coach on the run, which is, I think, a major point of difference. So he's not somebody who, a lot of the agents do their own auctions, and there's not really a group sort of to help you with that. So that's one big thing. Second thing definitely is the model. We were able to have flexibility and basically take all of there's no areas, and this is a brand where you can really test how good you actually are, because it's not a franchise and there's no boundaries or glass ceilings.
And Matt, your view?
Sorry, yeah, I think, look, the one thing that is really driving it down here is the model is so unique compared to basically every other either franchise or boutique office. And the beauty for us is that we're able to attract agents who have the experience and the knowledge to actually know what they're doing by terms of listing and selling. They may have had an appetite to do their own business, but they don't actually have that business acumen in the background. Their skills are listing and selling real estate. So our model being able to really allow agents to sort of run their own business, get a much higher portion of the commission they usually would with their current setup, but also giving them the autonomy where they're not burdened by, 3 2-hour meetings a week that they have to, attend. They run their own business. They're all self-motivated. They all seem to be excelling now, which is great. And I think that model, that unique model aspect, that's our real point of difference that seems to be very attractive to a number of agents down here.
And Michael, what are agents telling you when they come across?
They're telling the one thing I think they're surprised at is that I think the thing that agents have in their mind is that if I go work at an agency where a lot of it's up to me, I'm going to have to do a lot of that back end stuff. But I think the biggest surprise they find when joining the agency is actually the amount of support we've got. Be it, Claudio and Sina doing having the coaching option with Claudio, be it the campaign managers who look after all their back end, the settlements team, the accounting, the amount of resources that the agents are exposed to, I think probably takes them by a little bit of surprise. And a number of them are finding that although they are exposed to higher commission splits, they're also actually exposed to more support than they ordinarily were used to. So I think that's really surprising them, and in a positive way, when they're coming on board.
And Dave, I just think to add to Michael's point there, he's a principal who's there for them. He's not listing and selling and competing with the team. So he's there to build and grow, which is a very unusual model in our industry. Usually have a small office with the selling principal, and they sort of just, the agents just, filter along behind. But Michael's there for deal support. He's happy to grow. He's happy to help them build teams. I think one other quick thing is a lot of the people that have joined us have beforehand, they're now seeing us as a clear option instead of going and actually running their own business. They might have been running their own business before, a lot of them, and they've decided to get out of that and come and join us because they're part of something national. They're not a lone ranger. They've got access to the whole group and they can collaborate at a national level, which is critical for their clients.
And just on that, Matt, so Michael's just given us good feedback from what's happening in Victoria, but are you seeing that replicated around the country?
Oh, definitely. The model's definitely advanced its way through WA and all the way through New South Wales. The regional markets in New South Wales, Dave, too, and Queensland for us have been probably one of our strongest growths because the regional markets wanting to tap into the national exposure. And that's something that's certainly since COVID, we saw regional was a getaway for a lot of areas, for a lot of agents, owners in the city. And a lot of agents now, they started to really realise that a lot of their clients are coming from interstate. So being in a business, if you're in a regional market that has access nationally to buyers and future investors, that type of thing, has been a really something that our models really differentiates itself.
Okay, let's talk about recruitment, a key part of the agency and its growth story. It is a big part of growth, and where both agent numbers, but revenue growth, GCI, and then in turn profit comes from. Michael, what's been driving your success in attracting new agents, and what type of people are joining, and what are they looking for when they make the move?
So one of the big wins that we've had early is we've sort of been exposed to markets now that we weren't or haven't been exposed to probably in the past 12 months. And the ones I'm referring to are a new office that we started in Bendigo and also a new office in Mildura. One of the things that has worked really well for us is that a lot of agents in Victoria, they like to see that the model can be successful. And obviously, we've had that success now in metropolitan Melbourne with Will Pendlebury and also Lee Melbourne, Luke Saville, all doing really well. But now we're able to go to other markets and say that, the model has started from scratch in certain areas and it's had immediate success. And with our Bendigo office and also our Mildura office, I'm really, really pleased to see someone like Sasha Dale and also Beck Marciano, two different areas. And they've come into the business and are now in our top 5 in terms of listings for the financial year. They've been in the business for only 3 months. So what that's telling me is that the actual start rate and the rate at which agents are getting up and running under the brand and having success under the brand in new areas where that brand hasn't been is fast tracking, which is great. But the help that that's going to give us is that because there'll be agents in surrounding areas to those regional markets that are seeing that success because we've got the right people, that's going to then give them confidence to know that the model works. So that's that new market aspect. And from a recruiting perspective, finding the right people that actually are successful in their markets already, that is a key driver in terms of new success and then, leading to more recruits.
And are you having success in that area? Are you pleased with, in a short window, the success you've had in attracting what are clearly high quality agents?
I am happy. Yeah, I am happy with the success. I say to Maddie all the time, it's great to have the wins early, but it's a matter of then consolidating on those, because if we don't consolidate on those and then expand further, then you're running, you hit a brick wall, which we can't do. Yep. So we need to consolidate on those wins. They've been great wins. And I think that the caliber of agents that we picked up the number 1 agent in Bendigo at the time, the number 1. So when we can pick up agents like that and we can recruit those sort of people, that gives us a lot of confidence that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, Dave, I think something else to highlight and spotlight on definitely is now a number of your markets, Michael, you've got the number one agent operating in that market now all of a sudden. So Lee Melbourne and Williamstown, I think he's got north of 60% market share. Will Pendlebury, I mean, he'd be similar sort of market share. You've got Beck and Sasha on their way up, if not far off number one. Luke Saville, got people that are starting to dominate their market. Now I think that's definitely been a driver. Plus, one of the other things to note, which will put a spotlight on too, a lot of the people that are coming to us now, Dave, are people that are being referred in by the existing agents. So we're starting to get that. That was now sort of something that's been happening, Michael, in the last 6 months, I guess, since you've been collaborating the team a bit more as well, where they're starting to say, hang on, why don't you talk to this person? Because we're speaking to them, we've told them what it's like here. So that's really like third-party endorsement and social proof from our people is what's going to like really drive this business for us nationally.
And Michael, you touched on it before. A big part of the growth in Victoria has been expanding the presence into new parts of Victoria. Can you talk about where you're seeing the most opportunity, both in terms of Metro Melbourne and in the regions?
Yeah, the benefit for us is that because we've had successful agents, those surrounding suburbs and surrounding areas around those successful agents, a lot of those competing agents then see what those successful operators are doing. So I think the immediate areas surrounding what are already strong areas for us are a natural progression. I think one of the other things that's working for us, and I think it leads to your question as well, is that actually the caliber of property that we're selling is improving a lot as well. We've had a number of sales that have been well north of 5 million over the past 6 months, probably more in the past 6 months than we'd had in, I'd say, the last 2 years. And that comes back to the caliber of agent that we're attracting. Now, what that then translates into is that when agents see that an agency or a brand is selling good quality homes, that becomes an attraction brand for agents, right? So I think that I don't want to put a limit on certain particular areas that we're focusing on. With our new head of recruiting, Adrian Wood, we're not limiting ourselves to one or two particular areas. We're looking Victoria wide, and if there's a good opportunity, we're making sure that we put a really good case forward to those people.
And Matt, are you seeing similar regional growth trends across the country? And how important is it to have that local presence in emerging markets while still maintaining the strength of the brand nationally?
Definitely, Dave. I mentioned, touch on it before. In New South Wales, some of our very strong markets right now are Illawarra, Wollongong Way, right down to Shell Harbour, then up to Hunter Valley is one of our very strong markets regionally. Very strong around the Central Coast, so suburbs like Terrigal, just to highlight, and around Bowral. So we've really, and what's promoting that is the cross movement between Sydney Central, and a lot of those a lot of our agents tell us that most of their buyers are coming from Sydney, the New South Wales one. So that's a really big part of their success, and their clients, they want to tap into those buyers because a lot of those buyers will invariably pay more than the local buyer because they see value that the local buyer often can't see because they're in the, it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame scenario. But there's value, and I think in the Victorian market, personally, and I've been going down there now since I'm Sydney based, obviously going down there every sort of month or so since we started nearly 9 years ago. And I just see the value down in that market incredible at the moment.
Michael, let's talk about wins and momentum. What are some of the standout wins in Victoria recently? Big sales, office growth, recruitment of key people that in your mind really show how the brand is building momentum.
Yeah, so we actually had a record sale in a suburb, which was really great. Only about a month and a half ago, Lee Melbourne sold a property in Williamstown for a whisker over 9.1 million, which was great to see. That was a really big win for us. It got a lot of press, and I think it just shows the strength of that particular performer being Lee and his team. He then backed that up with another sale that was over 7 million and then another sale over 5 million in the space of a month. So those sort of wins are massive for us. We have recruited an agent, Michael Praproth, who used to be with us, is back with us now. His first sale was just over 5.7 million. So the caliber of property that we're selling, we're seeing as massive wins. I think I've obviously mentioned in terms of the regional growth, we see that as a massive win as well. But I think something like that's not necessarily easy to see from the outside, but we're noticing from the inside is just the amount of phones, the amount of calls that we're actually receiving from agents. Obviously, we're doing our prospecting as well, and we're building relationships. But when the phone's ringing the other way, that's telling me that we're, as a brand, not just from a Victorian point of view, but nationally, doing something really well.
And Mike, we're looking at just opening an office very shortly. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, we're very, very close to. Well, we have agreement basically on a deal that's going to see a new office for us in Bayside, which is a market that we haven't been exposed to greatly. So that's going to be down the beach, probably about 20 minutes out of Melbourne. A beautiful area, a very strong operator who's going to be joining us, a $1 million agent, and he'll be someone who certainly won't have a slow start. He's a very, very accomplished operator. Will have immediate impact in that market. And that's someone that I think, in time, we'll be able to add another suburb or two where we're number one, which will, further strengthen our cause in a new marketplace.
And Matt, when you look at those results, what do they say to you about where the agency sits in the national market right now?
I see it, Dave, it's probably since my 35-year career and 25 in leadership and growing businesses, this is probably the most excited I've personally been, where we've built now an attraction business. So most of my week is with the GMs, with talk, like meeting new people. People are excited. As Michael said, he's had inbound calls now. When you start a business, everything's always outbound. And we do make a lot of outbound still, but I just think the company nationally, right around the country, is now become an attraction. It's become a place where a destination where a lot of people are searching to build their careers.
Now, Michael, let's touch on what's ahead. What does the pipeline of activity look like, both in terms of listings and the recruitment side? And are you seeing that growth continuing into the new year?
Yeah, we're quite fortunate in Victoria at the moment. Rather, the market's performing very strongly, and that's, I guess, on the back of a few years of certainly not growth, but just a pretty flat market. I think when you can look at the number of listings that we've got in Victoria compared to other markets around the country, the listing numbers are up, which is great. We have exceeded our budget in terms of not only listing numbers and exchanges, but also gross commission really for every month this financial year. So that's been really encouraging to see the listings continuing to funnel through, and we're expecting that to continue certainly into 2026. I think the pipeline in terms of actual agents that we have coming on board. We had a meeting this morning that we caught up with all the GMs and obviously Matt and AJ as well. And, just talking about the potential recruits that we've got, it's quite exciting. So, I would say there's probably 6 to 8 agents who we hope to secure, really by the start of February, who are going to strengthen our cause a lot down in Victoria. And it's quality. They're quality real estate agents who are proven performers, and they're going to just further strengthen the brand and then make it easier to recruit as well.
And Matt, from your perspective, how important is it to keep that forward momentum, building a healthy pipeline of both deals and people, especially in a market that in a lot of ways is still finding its balance?
Oh, it's critical, Dave, and that's why Michael coming in and purely being focused on growth of the individual agents and then growing the business. That's what he's 24/7 aligned to, and that's a critical driver. Having someone that's not on the tools, I suppose, selling houses and doing all those things. He's obviously got a pipeline of past clients. He passes them through because he is an agent and an auctioneer, as I said. So that's critical. It's just been how we've built the entire business, really. We haven't taken our foot off the accelerator, and now it's become an attraction business as well. So we're just delivering, world-class service to our team.
Let's zoom out for a moment. How do you both see the Victorian market performing right now, and where are the key opportunities, and what segments are showing the most resilience?
I've never seen a market that is so heavily investor based as what I've seen now. We're speaking to agents who, take it out, regional agents that, their properties aren't making it to REA or Domain. They're simply just listing a home, exposing it to a number of buyers advocates who they're in touch with. Those buyers advocates will have, 5 to 10 buyers ready to buy a property sight unseen. They just need to know a yield. They need to know a land size, condition of the house, and they're prepared to put pen to paper on a contract. So the amount of investment we're seeing from buyers advocates, and I think one of the things that's come down to, investors rather than buyers advocates, is that there seems to be a new wave, or I would say new generation of buyers who are so keen to start their career from an investment point of view. I think one of the things that I think that's driving that is actually social media. There's so many, I guess, investor opportunities put through social media, and there's so many people pushing property investment. Victoria hasn't been that in the past, that really attractive place to invest. But I think seeing other states past Victoria, Queensland, cities like Brisbane that have a higher average sale price now than Victoria, Melbourne rather, people are seeing some great investment opportunities. So where that investor market's incredibly strong, properties that are renovated are selling very, very well because of the cost of renovations, the cost of building. So overall, we're expecting the market to continue to be strong. Certainly while listing numbers remain as they are.
And Matt, how does that align with what you're seeing across the rest of the country?
Exactly. It's exactly the same sort of message, I guess, Dave. I was going to just add to what Mike was saying about Stephen Chen and our projects team. He was involved in a number of projects in Melbourne. And he's mostly investors have bought those and he sold quite a lot of off there. And they're investors that are prepared to buy in from outside of it. So it's not just New South Wales, Queensland and WA. He's been taking a lot of different people through that project, through his database, and they've been investors. We're seeing the same thing. I think the rental market, Michael, is as strong still in Victoria right now.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
no different to New South Wales, and I know WA's got the same, Queensland's the same. So we're seeing a national, the rental market still being very tight nationally.
Now, looking ahead, what's the focus for Victoria over the next 12 to 24 months? Michael, what are your main priorities for continuing to grow the team and the business?
Recruit. That's number one. There's no secret sauce about it. That's our absolute focus, to recruit good quality agents who are going to strengthen the brand, and agents who are going to attract other agents. So that's our number one focus at the moment. We'd love to enter some new markets that we're not already exposed in. And obviously then, one of the other things is just making sure that our agents that are with us at the moment, it's all good and well looking for new agents, but you want to make sure that you retain the agents that you've got, the good agents that you've got, making sure that the level of service and level of support that they're receiving is consistent, and making sure that we do everything we possibly can to make them successful, because if they're successful, it then makes us easier to recruit as well.
Yeah. Dave, we're also wheeling out January a national trainer who will be based in actually Victoria, living down there, and his focus is to go nationally, and they'll be doing that and individually, like putting group sessions on to help individual agents continue to grow. So Michael can get out there and focus more on recruiting while the training. And so it'll be existing agents pulling that lever and helping them grow. So that's revenue up. And then obviously recruiting and covering markets. Like we got a lot of ground to cover, Mike, haven't we, down in the Vic, when we're in a number of other parts of the country too. We've got so much exciting growth that we can tap into. Now you've got Adrian on as well. That's like another jet on your wing sort of thing to get more people on quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Matt, how do you see Victoria contributing to the agency's national goals going forward?
Critical, because just of the movement, Dave. So we're able to say to our agents right across the country, we've got a strong Victorian market now. We're able to place people that might be moving from anywhere to Vic or moving from Vic to anywhere else. There has been a lot of people moving, obviously, past that COVID period. Michael, we were talking about that before, going north, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, Sydney. But I think that now starting to slow, and investors are coming in as well. And we're seeing a lot of people, there's so much happening in Vic always, with all the sporting, and it's just a place I think it's very good value at the moment.
Well, thanks, Matt. Thanks, Michael. It's great to hear how the agency is continuing to build momentum in Victoria, not just through listings and sales, but through recruitment, clever recruitment, expansion into new markets, and a strong forward pipeline. Matt, Michael, really appreciate you both making the time for this chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, David.